Well, and I think just in general across the nation, I believe that addiction treatment has changed a lot over the years. We've gotten much smarter, like with anything, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be very hardcore, rip them down and then build them up. I don't know that we rip them down anymore. They're already ripped down when we get them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's our job to build them up and meet them where they're at and teach them that, yes, you do have strengths and you do have skills and you do have talents. And here's recovery tools that are going to help you stay clean and sober if that's your choice.
Hello and welcome to the Inspired Woman Podcast. I'm Marcy Narum. This podcast is dedicated to impacting a multitude of women with its mission to celebrate, encourage, empower, educate, entertain, and connect women. This episode is brought to you by Photos by JC. If you're looking for a fun, no-pressure photo shoot where you actually enjoy being in front of the camera, give JC Vogelweed a call. She specializes in families and seniors. Check her out at photosbyjc.com. It's my pleasure to welcome Cathy Palczewski to the podcast today. Thanks for being here, Cathy.
Thank you, Marcy. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said yes to doing this. Cathy, you're a recreational therapist.
Correct.
And I don't think I had actually heard that. I thought you were a social worker.
Mm-hmm.
They're similar?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the difference?
So the big difference is that I do therapy through play. So that's really the big difference.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our classes are very mirror one another, and I may even have more classes, especially when it comes to family systems, child development, those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And you've worked for various agencies,
yes.
The National Guard and
Juvenile
Extension.
Justice, NDSU Extension, Hartview Foundation, twice.
Yeah. So currently at Hartview, which is why I asked you to come in, because some really interesting things are happening. A program that you established at Hartview. Is there a name for it, or?
Well, it's the Opioid treatment program, and I don't know that I established it, but definitely am working as part of the team. Mm-hmm. We just celebrated our 2-year anniversary yesterday, so the program is still in its toddler years, if you will.
Congratulations.
And we are just learning our way. Mm-hmm. It's very new to the area. There are 3 opioid treatment methadone clinics in North Dakota. Ours is the only one that offers a treatment component with the methadone.
Okay. So explain for our viewers and listeners the reason that the opioid treatment program was established 2 years ago.
Well, obviously, turn on your TV, right?
Right.
The opioid crisis is among us, and North Dakota is not immune to that. And, it's just been a need in our community for a long time coming. Many of our patients will tell us today that I've been waiting for years. So it's great that we finally have one in North Dakota, and there's also a methadone clinic in Minot and one in Fargo.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So tell me about the program that you're working. When I say you established it, it's the recreational therapy that you're doing. That is, you called it non-traditional when we were visiting.
Yes. And it is a very non-traditional treatment program. Many of our patients have been through several treatment programs in their life, some up to 20 times. And so we knew that going in that traditional treatment probably wasn't going to cut it for this population. And so I had probably been with Hartview about, 2 months or so. And I went in and I talked to my boss and I said, are you okay if I change some things up with the group a little bit? And I asked a bunch of questions, and I needed to learn too, because, I thought I didn't live under a rock. But when I went to work there, I found out that maybe I was living under a rock a little bit. And not really knowing what these patients were going to need, because I had never worked with just opioid addicts before.
Okay.
And so, we kind of as a team decided that interactive would probably work better for our patients. And so I just started putting the schedule together and started bringing in people from the community to educate our patients. And the focus of our group is really teaching them recovery tools as well as life skills. So part of that is obviously getting out in the community and living life and doing it in a safe environment.
Sure, yeah.
And so, a lot of the opioid addicts that we work with, they got addicted because they hurt themselves at some point, went to a doctor and were prescribed opioids and couldn't quit. Yeah. So I thought, okay, so if pain is an issue, we need to teach them alternative ways to deal with pain without the pills. So that just kind of led to many of the people that I have started inviting into the program to visit with our patients, or we go out into the community to experience some of those wellness activities that don't center around drugs.
Okay. What are some examples?
So we do some education on back health, acupuncture, mindfulness is huge. We go to yoga. Of course, essential oils is something that we do. And then we have people come in, or we go out into the community for two agencies that provide services for our clientele. So people like Community Action, Community Options, Salvation Army, the soup kitchens. Those are all places that help our clients, excuse me.
So I heard about the essential oils that you were, and I didn't realize there was so much more that you were doing in this program. So I want to, I guess, find out more, you know, and how this is all working. So essential oils, how do you use the essential oils, and what are you seeing happen?
So, I personally started using essential oils and have had great results. And so I started snooping around and doing some research about addiction in essential oils. I had seen an article that popped by Facebook, and of course the source wasn't very credible, but I thought maybe there is some science-based behind this. So I started doing some reading, and I found some very interesting articles about successes that were happening with essential oils, especially with people that have opioid addictions.
Really?
And so I dove into that, and then I did my research with essential oil companies, and of course I wanted something credible because it's obviously representing Hartview Foundation, and we need to do what's right for our patients. So I came across, a couple people that I knew that were into a certain company that had a lot of research behind it. And I thought, let's try this. It's not going to hurt people.
Right.
That's the thing about essential oils is if you go with a reputable company, they're 100% natural and pure from a plant. So, that's not going to hurt people. And if they get relief, woohoo, right? Win.
Yeah.
Win.
Exactly. That's your goal.
Yes, absolutely.
And so what I know about essential oils is you can take them topically, I guess, on your skin, or you can ingest them or diffuse them.
Correct.
So how are you using them at Hartview?
Okay, so in our group room, we have a diffuser that I run every day. And I use oils that are either clarifying in nature to enhance mood or uplift mood, or I used oils that are calming in nature, depending on kind of the mood of the group that week.
Okay.
So that is running through group the entire time. And then I couple that with, I say I because I'm the one who does this part of the group. I also do have a co-facilitator, and I definitely work as part of a team. I'm just one of several. So we also do meditation and journaling to start out our group every day, just to get them in the right mindset. The lights are low. They have the oil smell in the room. The music is on. They journal, they meditate, and then we get on with our group for the day. So that's how we first started using. And now I bring in a couple women once a month, and they come in and they do education on oils. And one of the women, they have a body scanner, I guess, for lack of, the technical term is an ITOV, but they bring in this body scanner and they assess our patients. And then based on that, we make a roller ball that they can go home with once a month.
Wow.
So they actually get to use them and experience the benefit or not a benefit, whatever may be for each patient.
Mm-hmm. Was this a tough sell to the
No.
patients?
No. You know, and I think it helped because they've built a trusting relationship with me. I think it helped for me to say, I was skeptical when I first heard about oils. I'm like, yeah, right, that's going to help me. Until I started using them on a regular basis, and then they started to work for me. And, you know, what I tell our patients with everything we do, not just with oils, but with everything, like when we go to the chiropractor, when we go to yoga, I said, this may or may not be for you, but you're not going to know until you try. Mm-hmm. And, you know, our favorite word at Hartview is practice. Practice, practice, practice. If you practice a skill long enough, it's probably going to help you. Mm-hmm. So that was just part of, I guess, my sell to the patients. And it wasn't much of a sell, really. You know, they were just curious. What's this about? And then when they, you know, the two people that come in, they have great energy. So, of course, they're going to be attracted to that because they like excitement, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a great experience. They always ask, when are they coming back again?
Well, that's a good sign.
You know, they were just in yesterday and did a class for us. And we focused on addiction and all the symptoms that come with addiction and what oils can help each one of those symptoms. And so patients were able to choose, okay, I'm experiencing body aches and I'm experiencing anxiety. I'm experiencing the inability to concentrate. And so they made oil blends to deal with whatever issues they were experiencing. And they all have an oil roller ball now to bring with them to group. And this morning, the patients came into group and they all had their oil balls sitting on the table, or the roller balls sitting on the table. And a couple of them were putting it on during group. And I'm like, yes. Yeah.
Satisfying for you.
Absolutely.
What are some of the results? I mean, are they talking about how they're feeling now?
Yes.
Like, how long have you been doing the essential oils?
This is month 5, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe it's 4 or 5. And so I can think of one patient in particular that really struggles with anxiety and really struggles with just mood regulation in general. And the first time that he was in the oils class, he made a roller ball that addressed those two issues. And like probably 3 weeks later, he came back and he said, I feel like a different person. And I said, explain that to me. And he went on to say that, you know, if I put that on and I take a deep breath several times, and if I apply it like 2 to 3 times a day, he said, my mood is not all over the place like it was. And, you know, he was really excited about that. And he goes, do you think it's just me coming off the drugs and getting adjusted to my methadone? And I said, well, it could be a combination of all of it. I said, I don't know that we're scientists and can figure that out. But I said, if it's making you feel better, what do you think about that? And he's like, well, I'm in, you know. Yeah. And now he has found his own distributor of oils and has quite the plethora of oils. He came one day and he had a little pouch and he probably had 10 different oils that he had purchased himself that he's using on a regular basis.
Wow, good for him. Oh, I can vouch for it becoming a little addictive.
Yes, it can be.
And when you try one and you want more.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
and the thing about our patients, they're always going to want more because they have substance use disorder.
Right.
But at least this one isn't going to kill them, right?
Yeah, right. I was just going to say, I used the word addictive there, but in this case, it's something that, you know,
it's positive.
Beneficial. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other, you know, success stories, people having relief from other issues?
So the methadone comes with some side effects. And the some of those side effects are things like constipation, body aches, sweating, and there's oils that can deal with that. And so we have a female that suffers from a lot of body aches and pain, and she has started using the oils. I think she's at month 3 now that she's been in classes. So she's had 3 essential oil classes. So she has 3 different roller balls that she can use. And before they came this month, she visited with me, and I said, how is it working? Do you notice a difference? And she started crying. She got tears in her eyes, and she said, my neck feels so much better. My feet feel so much better. My knees feel so much better. And she says she's sleeping better. And she attributes that to getting to a therapeutic dose with her methadone. Obviously, that plays a big role in it. But she also attributes it to oils and yoga and the chiropractic visits. And coupling all those different things are, of course, if you practice them, they probably will help you feel better. They might not take away all of your symptoms, but hopefully they can lessen them.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the goal.
Oh, it's good work, isn't it?
It's awesome. Yeah. It's the reward in exposing our patients to the alternatives to managing pain and managing their symptoms and just living a healthy lifestyle is to see the patients grow and thrive and get excited about something that makes them feel good that's not a drug.
Yeah. So when we were talking earlier, you mentioned going out. So you have the speakers come in and talk about the community service that they provide, but then you in turn go to them. Explain that.
So one of the things that we do is we have organizations come into the group to give just a rundown on the services that they could maybe offer our patients to help them get back on their feet. Many of our patients, when they come to us, they don't have much. A lot of them are homeless. A lot of them have lost family, have lost jobs, have lost cars. And so they have a lot of struggles in getting back on their feet. So those community resources are brought in to teach them what's out there and available to help them. And hopefully for them to make life a little easier for them so they don't have to search it out, on themselves, on their own, because they probably wouldn't, to be quite honest with you. They'd probably just be comfortable living the way they were living. So exposing them to what's out there for them. And then some of those agencies that come in to offer education to our patients, then in return, I take the patients out on community service projects to their agency. So we'll spend, a morning a month at their agency giving back. And, we've done things like get clothes ready in a clothing pantry, or unpack food for a food pantry, serving meals at the Heaven's Helpers, serving meals at Ministry on the Margins, going to community action program and filling backpacks for kids programs. So we've done a variety of service learning projects to help the patients realize the importance of, if people give to you, it's going to make you feel good if you can give back and not just always be a taker.
And so what is the reaction, the response in that experience for them?
Yeah, it's pretty miraculous, quite frankly. I might tear up now, but it's amazing to watch the patients in the community. It's like they become less guarded, obviously, because we're out of the group room. And then they realize that, wow, I do have these skills. I can do this. I know how to treat people nicely. And just to see them, they blossom and they get so excited. And then the van ride back to Hartview is always, the conversation is, that was awesome. When can we do this again? Can I go on my own? Thank you for setting this up. Those people were great. It's crazy. I expected good, or I would have never presented my ideas in the first place, but I don't know that I expected amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what we're getting. And, just to see, our patients, they don't oftentimes have a lot to smile about when they come to us. And to see that there's a lot to smile about out there. So,
yeah, definitely. It's okay to tear up. So this is your second time working for Hartview. When were you there before?
I was there, I'm aging myself here. I was there in the early 90s, and I worked in the old Mandan Hartview building.
Oh, sure.
And at that time, I worked both the adult and the adolescent unit. And the majority of our patients were alcoholics. And so now it's kind of rare in our building to have an alcoholic.
Really?
You know, a lot of them have multiple addictions. It's not just alcohol. It might be marijuana. It might be opioids. So it's much different.
Yeah. And so I would imagine treatment and the programs are different, like this one.
Yeah. Well, and I think just in general across the nation, I believe that addiction treatment has changed a lot over the years. We've gotten much smarter, like with anything, hopefully. You know, it used to be very hardcore, you know, rip them down and then build them up. I don't know that we rip them down anymore. You know, they're already ripped down when we get them. So it's our job to build them up and meet them where they're at and teach them that, yes, you do have strengths and you do have skills and you do have talents. And here's recovery tools that are going to help you stay clean and sober if that's your choice.
Yeah. To stay clean and sober. I think that's you're equipping them really, or empowering them.
Yep.
Yeah. So do you see some come back, or have you seen them come back?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's, you know, the old adage is that addiction, you can kind of expect relapse. And we teach, no, you know, there doesn't have to be relapse with addiction.
Okay.
Is it a disease of relapse? I think that's questionable. Personally, I don't believe that. I think it's a personal choice. If, you know, a lot of the old myth, I grew up in a small town in southwest North Dakota, and somebody would come up to Mandan for treatment at the old Hartview building. And when they'd get home, all the people in town would say, well, they're fixed or they're cured. You know, treatment is the easy part. Going home and applying all of the tools that you have used in treatment is the hard part. And that's why we at the opioid treatment program have incorporated going into the community and living life with safe people. Hopefully, if they experience that in a safe environment, then they're going to be more apt to do it when they get out on their own. And, you know, there's recovery tools that have worked for hundreds and hundreds of years. And the patients that we see come back to us for a second and third treatment, it's because those tools weren't implemented. Never fails. You know, you can white knuckle recovery, where you just don't use, but you're not doing anything different with your life. And those are the people that relapse.
Sure.
Or you can live a true recovery program where you go to recovery support groups in the community, where you get a job, where you structure your time, you have a regular eating pattern and a regular sleeping pattern, and you're affirming yourself daily, and you're looking at your daily inventory and taking note of what are you doing right, what behaviors do you need to change, are there relapse warning signs staring you in the eye, and what are you doing about that? Do you have a sponsor? There's tools that have been proven to work for years and years and years. And if they don't implement them, there's a consequence for that.
Sure. So that's what you send them off with, all prepared, you know? And
We try to.
yeah. Wow.
We try to. Yeah.
It's wonderful. In your work, has this been something, would you call it challenging? Has it been like anything else that you've done as a recreational therapist?
I would say yes and no. The programmatic piece is the same across the board. The population is obviously very different. Our population very much lives in crisis mode. So I think that was probably one of the biggest surprises to me when I first started. they told me what my caseload was going to be and what my job was going to look like. And I thought, well, that should be a piece of cake. But it's not a piece of cake because there's so much crisis management that we deal with on a regular basis. And it's not because of the needs, the extensive needs of our patients. Like I said, many of them come to us and they're homeless and they don't have transportation and their family may or may not be involved in their life. They are not working. They don't have any money. They may not have food. So trying to get all those needs met because if your basic needs aren't met, the basic Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you don't have housing, food, clothing, you're not going to be able to focus on the important stuff,
Right.
Not that that isn't important. That's not what I meant. But obviously you're not going to be able to focus on your internal needs and your mental health needs and your addiction needs if your basic living skills aren't being met.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if somebody does have, say they have a family and, there's a support system out there for them that's established, how are they involved in helping?
When I said that our program is non-traditional, and again, I need to clarify that I'm just talking about the opioid treatment program. Our day treatment program and our intensive outpatient program and our aftercare programs look very different than the opioid treatment program. So obviously we try to communicate with family as much as they choose to be involved. And if we need to do a one-time family session just to set down communication expectations, guidelines, those types of things, we'll do that. It's not as common as it is in traditional treatment. But we definitely, if the family is healthy, we always encourage family involvement because, that can be the best support on the planet. They birthed you. So,
Yeah.
That's kind of important. And so, we try to encourage it. Our goal in the future is because our program is so new, we've gone through a lot of changes. I think at some point we'll do regular education sessions for family members. Just surrounding, even methadone is a mystery to so many of our family members that they don't understand, isn't it another drug and why are they still taking an opioid? And, they have those questions. They don't understand it. And the patient might not be equipped enough to explain it scientifically to them. So just some of those basic educational pieces that we could offer patients to help them better support and help their loved one, I guess, as they recover.
Okay. So I didn't prepare you for this question.
That's okay.
But it's what I like to wrap up each podcast with our tagline for Inspired Woman, which is, she believed she could, so she did. It goes along with our mission statement. And is there a time in your life, Cathy, that you can think of, or maybe currently, that that applies to you? She believed she could, so she did.
I believe that that's kind of my life motto. I've always been pretty self-driven. That was kind of my family's motto. You work hard and there's going to be benefit to that. And I learned that at a very young age. And I'm not one to sit back and wait for life to happen to me. I'm one to say, okay, let's go. Let's see what's out there. And I think that has helped me in my career. It's helped me in my personal life. I'm not afraid to open a door to see what's behind it. And I'm not afraid to do something that's never been done before. And I'm not afraid to make waves. And I kind of have a creative mind, which sometimes gets me in trouble. But I think that life is out there for me to experience. And I hope that's what I instill in our patients every day as well, that you don't have to sit back and let the crap happen. You can fight. You can fight back, and you can make a difference. Just because you have substance disorder does not mean you're not a human being that has worth.
Beautiful. I got goosebumps. Thank you so much for sharing on the podcast today and for doing what you're doing for people in North Dakota in recovery and finding that renewal in their life.
Yeah, it's an honor. It's an honor to do what I do every day. I don't take that for granted.
All right, Cathy Palczewski, thanks so much. The Inspired Woman podcast is sponsored by Quantum Productions, the home of the award-winning director and cinematographer Nolan Johnson. He creates unique high-end video products throughout the Midwest. You can check him out at quantumprond.com.